Now let's continue with problem number 9. On number 9, it says a jury of 6 people is selected from a pool of 21 people that includes 12 men and 9 women. What is the probability? As soon as you see probability, you know you need to end up with a fraction, that the jury will be composed of all women. So we are looking for the probability that all 6 people that you select are women. So we have woman, and a woman, and a woman, and a woman, woman, and another woman. 2, 4, 6. You want to be able to write this notation, so that will help you follow the process. How many fractions do we need? 6 of them. What's the probability of selecting the first woman? How many women do we have total? 9 out of how many? Out of 21. The second woman, so the first woman steps outside. She got selected. How many women are left in the group? 8 out of how many? 20. And we have 7 out of 19, and 6 out of 18, and 5 out of 17, and last we have 4 out of 16. And now we just need to be able to simplify. Make sure that you are careful. Let's go and simplify the 9 and the 21 divided by 3 gives me 3, gives me 7. The 8 and the 20 divided by 4 gives me 2, gives me 5. The 6 and the 18 divided by 6 gives me 1, gives me 3. The 4 and the 16 divided by 4 gives me 1, gives me 4. I can simplify, or I can cancel the 5s. I can cancel the 3s. I can cancel the 7s. And actually this one works very nicely. I can reduce it, divide by 2, gives me 1, gives me 2. On the numerator, so the probability will be 1 over, we'll multiply 19 times 17 times 2, and that will give you 646. So the probability of selecting a woman is going to be all 6 women out of this group is going to be very, very small. It will be 1 divided by 646. Now let's continue with problem number 10. On problem number 10, it says, a bag contains 7 pencils and 3 ball pens. Ronald takes one writing object from this bag. He's going to place it in his pocket, so he's going to place it on the side, and then selects another item. What's the probability that he takes out 2 pencils? So we're looking for the probability of a pencil and a pencil. Remember, probability should give you guys fractions. So what's the probability of selecting the first pencil? How many pencils do we have? 7 out of 10 writing utensils. Times, you're going to place it on the side. So how many pencils do we have now? 6 out of 9. Now remember to be able to simplify first. So let's go and reduce by 3, gives me 2, gives me 3. Let's reduce the 10 and the 2 divided by 2. That cancels and gives me 5. So on top I have 7 over 15. The probability of getting 2 pencils will be 7 divided by 15. Problem number 11. On a recent test, Jeremy wrote the following question. X squared minus 81 divided by x minus 9 is equal to x plus 9. Determine which statement is correct about the question that he wrote. It's always true, sometimes true, always true, never true. There's an exception here. You want to be able to solve the equation. So let's go and simplify the top. I'm not going to factor. That's the difference of 2 squares. X is a square, 81 is a square. Therefore, we have x minus 9, x plus 9, divided by x minus 9, equal to x plus 9 on the right hand side. So in this case, the x minus 9 cancels. We just have x plus 9 is equal to x plus 9. We want to be able to leave an x by itself. I'm going to move my x to the left or subtract x on both sides. That will cancel both x's. So 9 is equal to 9. That is true. That means that we have many solutions, but it's always true. So it's not B or D. Says A, the equation is always true. C, the equation is always true except when x is equal to 9. Now remember, in this case, we have a denominator that has a variable. And we cannot have the denominator be 0. Therefore, x cannot be equal to 9 because 9 minus 9 will make that 0. Since we have a restriction or an exception, the answer is C. Number 12. Which expression is equivalent to log base 9 of 40? Now, usually the first thing that I usually notice that there's a change of base. So I do the log. I'm going to use the change of base. I'm going to place the 40 here and the 9. Does it look familiar to this one? Perfect. If now we know A is not the answer, if we want to be able to combine or condense both logs into one, log base 9, but because there's an addition, we're going to have to multiply. 37 multiplied by 3. So that's not it. If there's a coefficient, the power property allows us to move it as an exponent. So basically it becomes the log base 10 of 40 to the 9th power. That's not true. So your answer is letter C. And that's usually the first thing that I check. If I see that there's a change of base, I want to make sure that if it matches. Number 13. Which is a product is equivalent? We need to be able to simplify it. I'm not going to factor a common term here. So I'm not going to factor it 2. What's left? X minus, what do I need to multiply 2 to get x squared? What do I need to multiply 2 to get negative 18? 9. On the denominator, I recognize that this one should have been written first. That should be a negative x and then a positive 3. I want to go and factor the top. I have a 2. This is the difference of two squares. X is a square, 9 is a square. So we have x minus 3, x plus 3. Denominator, go and take out a negative 1. And what's left? X minus 3. From here, the x minus 3 cancels. 2 divided by negative 1 is negative 2. And we still have the x plus 3. So your answer, be careful because they all look very similar, so your answer is letter B. Number 14, what are the solutions? We have a quadratic equation. Now we can factor it, but by looking at these answers, we know that it cannot be factored. We can try to complete the square, but because we have a leading coefficient, it's going to require more work. You still can complete the square, but then you have to divide by 4, and it gets a little messy. This is 7, so it makes it a little easier, but still it's going to be a little more work than we wanted to. So the other option that we have is using the quadratic formula. So we have x equals opposite b, or negative a plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And I'm not going to use the discriminant separately. So the discriminant I'm not going to do on top, which is b squared minus 4ac. And just plug in the numbers that they give you. B will be 4, A will be 4, and C will be negative 5. That gives me 16. Negative 16 times 5 is times negative 5. 16 plus 80 is 96. So that will go in here, 96. X equals opposite b, that's negative 4, all over 2a, that's 4. Let's go and simplify that. X is equal to negative 4. I'm not going to break my fraction apart, divide by 8. The square root of 96, I can do the factor tree. 96 will be, its evens will be 2 times 48. 48 will be 3 times 16. I know that the square root of 16 is 4. So it'll be 4 inside I'm going to have a 2 and a 3, so I'll be square root of 6. Then I'm going to divide it by 8 as well. X is equal to negative 1/2 plus or minus. Reduce your fraction to 1/2 as well. So it'll be 1 square root of 6 divided by 2. So your answer is negative on the front, and that's letter B. Now, be careful. Even some of you guys, when you guys get to this step, you say, okay, this is a positive, make sure that's positive. So I know that my answer will not have an I. In this case, none of them have an I. As soon as you get to this step, it's okay. The first number should be negative, so I can go and cancel letter D and A. And then you can just go from there. And just be careful when you simplify your radical. Now let's continue to the back side.